Okay, the Model T. Now what you're gonna notice right away is it's very, the panels are very flat. Vertical panels are pretty straight, horizontal kind of connects. You can tell this is sort of a box. These are boxes on top of boxes. We would call this a 3-box shape in the industry. 1 box, 2, 3 boxes. The wheels and tires, you notice they're wooden. If you look at them close, you'll notice these look very, very similar to what was wagon wheels of the day and earlier in the 1800s. These were wooden pieces, same construction method. So you see a lot of influence from carriages and wagons in terms of how these were built. The reason for the tall tires or the large diameter tires was the fact that road conditions back in the day, there was no, well, the road conditions were, it was dirt. And obviously when it rained, they got muddy. You had divots, ruts, you had rocks, all kinds of things. So this was sort of a semi-off-road kind of vehicle in a sense, because there wasn't the kind of roads you had, especially in rural areas outside the city. Inside the city, yeah, you had some things going on, cobblestone, some early asphalt. But basically, this had to be very adventuresome because it was going to be mass-produced across the country. You have what's called a high ground clearance. This distance from here is a ground clearance. It's almost equal to the actual center line of the tires and wheels, because if there was a rough road, rocks, things like that, you could get over it. So this is the introduction to the Model T, and we're going to do a little drawing here. Again, take your pad, break it in half, okay? So, and as I mentioned before, when you're doing cars, you can actually just you can do this wheel trick where you put one to take the size of the wheel to get your proportions. So it's just a little bit more than 1, 2, 3.5 full wheels, okay? So down here, it's a box, put a wheel down, very light, 2, 3, a little more in here someplace. That's the center of this one. And then we're just going to put a little center line on our circle, okay? Same thing up here. These circles are almost like 3 high, just like doing a face. This is the height of our vehicle. We start breaking it down. So here's well, there's the ground clearance here, remember? That goes here. We've got this front box here. We've got the tall box in the center. And we've got this little deck in the back. Okay? So that's our basic introduction into the Model T, okay? Just the basic structure of it. Then we can come in and we can start adding a little more weight to the tire. Again, a large diameter, a little smaller one. Becomes our tires. Large diameter, a little smaller one. That's our center. Little center hub here. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to quite count out how many spokes are in this, because this is a sketch. You know, this should be kind of fun, free flowing. But I'm going to throw a couple lines in like that to make to give a light line for the sketches. I mean, for the spokes. Okay, got this. We got the fenders. There's a distance here. Again, the reason why the distance is because you had springs, and so the tire would go up and down as it hit things. So we're going to do this. This is a running board. Okay, like this. Make it a little bit thicker just so we get some depth to it. Up here, this is called the cowl in here. This is where the radiator is. Here's the door. And I put the windows here. I think they call this a turtle deck back here in the back. But you can tell they're very sort of nonsensical design, very straightforward. We can actually start adding a little bit of line weight. Fender comes back in here like this. And again, there's a lot of mechanical stuff in there, but we're not going to worry about that so much. We may just darken the spokes a little bit. The bottom of the frame comes in here. The back on the inside of the fender here. Okay, tire, maybe make it a little bit bigger. Here's our ground line. Okay, let's see. You put the door handle in here someplace. You can tell this comes up here. This is the body here. Some of the early, I'm not sure what this is here. Probably a toolkit. Again, you're out in the middle of rural America. Sometimes you needed stuff to fix what you had. This piece here is the cowl. That's a part. And the radiator shroud here. And vents, that's a part. Just like on the Visan, we had there's a little indicator of a hood ornament. Radiator, there's the engine. And you can see the inside of the hood this way. So basically what this is a one-point perspective. So everything's kind of moving this way. So we can add a little bit of the interior up here. There's a steering wheel, which would come in like this. But we just want to see the top of it, like that. And there's a little bit of a seat back here. And you have this very boxy, I'm going to raise this up just a little bit this way. Comes here. And we'll darken in a few things. I'm going to darken in below the fender, inside the fender well, inside the fender well here a little bit. Make that a little darker. Add a little contrast to the tires, a little darker at the bottom. Now you see a little bit of the tire in the background, so we're going to add just a little bit of the tire back there. And what happens when a side view, when you add a little bit of the tire on the outside, the other side tire like this, just like that, it gives it a really neat three-dimensional appearance, you know. And again, we're looking at on the inside. Let's see, we've got the thickness here. We've got the thickness of the inside of the cabin in there. So you can see the inside of the bottom of the roof itself. That's what that is up in here. So you see almost like the other side of the window. So that darkens it in. Here's the top. And we see a little bit of reflection here. So we might just actually add a little bit of reflection to the side of the vehicle. Just like this. And a very light line. This might be where we see the reflection of the horizon line on the side of the vehicle. Does this. And it just adds this sense of this form to the vehicle. Maybe a little darker here. But you want to leave as much white of the original drawing paper as possible. Makes a nice little sketch. And yeah, and always you can put your initials. One thing I need to start talking about is you guys got to sign your stuff. I think I neglected to get you into that. So that's a Model T side view. And we always start with a side view that kind of sets our proportions. We can look at some of the design details. And next will be a 3/4 view. Okay? Thank you.